PA be like, how do we fix the game? New noteboard system, more skins, listen to the player. Yep, that's it. Literally exactly that. It's been a while since we've seen Anfield around. I've been a fan of Anfield for a really long time. This is Anfield does not put out a crazy amount of YouTube videos. He used to put out the YouTube videos all the time. I'm a big Anfield fan. I've been a fan of Anfield since before I was a content creator. I've been watching him for years. He's been part of the Black Desert community for an extremely long time. He's known for his Ranger gameplay, both Succession and Awakening. And his Ranger guide is kind of a staple guide, basically across the community. He's an EU player, and he's been a very powerful voice for the community in the past, but he has not really spoken anything, and he certainly has not spoken out about the changes of the game for a long time. This is the first video that kind of rolled across my desk where he's talking about the current state of BDO, and I'm curious which side of the fence he's currently leaning on, because right now there are kind of two schools of thought in the BDO community. There are what people call the doomers, right? And then there's the dick suckers. Okay. So, like, if you're going to call people doomers, then the people on the other side of the fence are the dick suckers. Okay. And nobody necessarily wants to be on either side of this fence, right? For a long time, everybody, when you talked about doomers, everyone talks about Blue Squadron, blah, 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 blah. The truth of the matter was, I don't like dooming about the game. I hate dooming about this game, right? Bro, it's my favorite game of all time. I love BDO. But, like, I love to speak. I don't love, but like I felt like I had to speak out about felt like my voice carried weight, and I felt like I had to speak my piece on the state of the game and what they could do to improve it and give feedback. And when I know that they're hearing that feedback and they're not receiving it, I try again. In this case, I gave my feedback, didn't work. Second time, I was like, I'll do the UN podcast. They ignored that too. Then I just got louder because I know that they're listening, right? So, like, I feel like I'm kind of the pit bull for the community, right? Ugly looking, but loyal to a fault and mean. I can be really mean and loud when I gotta be. PA dick suckers, or anybody that is basically not like this is how the community sees it, right? I'm not necessarily gonna call them dick suckers, but like anybody that's really just not spoken out about the game, or like the current condition of the game, and like where the game is kind of at. And I will say that lately it's kind of toned down to now people see it less as dooming and more of feedback, because that's what it actually is. And then people that just don't want to hear negative feedback. Okay. So there's the people that will just give feedback, and then there's people that are really upset that people are giving feedback, and they just tell you their solution is always just to stop talking. So, like, I'm curious where Anfield's going to sit here. We all know which content creators kind of sit on various sides of the fence here. It's really no secret at this point. I would say that a lot of the doomers have kind of quit the game at this point, or they're not in the partner program anymore, or they're just not affiliated with Part of the Best, with Black Desert at all anymore. I think the doomers that are left in the category, I think it's just me that streams the game still and like plays the game and makes content for the game. I think that pretty much every other person, Fake Uni, D-Jules, Sword Kings doesn't make content for the game anymore. Basically everybody that used to make the negative content for the game is basically gone. And my content, I've tried to make a meaningful step not to make negative content about the game and to really just kind of give feedback. And nowadays, I'm not called a doomer anymore. I'm called a salty boy. Every time I say something negative about the game, people are like, oh, it's because he got removed from the partner program and he's just mad. No, like genuinely, I don't give a f about being removed from the partner program, because that shit didn't do anything for me. For the last year and a half, it has not done anything except give me a value pack. Who cares? Like, no one gives a shit. Like literally no one cares. But like, I just give my unadulterated opinion about the game now, which I feel has actually helped my platform more than hurt my platform. Poor choice though, and choice. I think that choice kind of started Choice and I's philosophy on Joyce and I are actually very similar people, but our approach to giving feedback is very different. My approach to giving feedback is to speak out and very publicly, like talk about it, right? I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be obnoxious about it. I'm going to bring people on the show, and I'm going to be the pit bull, right? I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be obnoxious, and I'm going to be mean sometimes about it, about how I give feedback sometimes, right? I always try to be positive about it. Like the first time, I try to give constructive feedback, right? And reasonable. But when they don't hear that, I have no problem getting loud and mean about it. Choice is different. Choice doesn't really like giving a tremendous amount of feedback about the game because he feels that it hurts the community every single time. I think, and I'm speculating here, but my understanding, and I've talked to Choice at length off of stream about stuff and his feelings on the game. I do feel that Choice thinks that his voice carries a lot of weight, and it does. And he feels that anything negative that he would say about the game would just objectively hurt the community. Right. And so he will not say negative things about the game, not because he's being paid by Pearl Abyss, but because he feels that his voice carries weight, and his definition of being responsible, like a responsible content creator, is to not hurt the community. And he feels that that would hurt the community. And where we differ is that I feel that I feel that you hurt the community more when you don't speak out about something that is wrong.
Hi, Blue.
Right?
Why do you always care too much about what a minority of people would call you?
It's not, I don't know if it's necessarily the minority. But like, this is just like what people call me. People call me all kinds of things. I don't really care too much, but it is out there. If you read my comment section, you'll see them. So I think that if people make bad changes to a game and you don't say anything about it, you end up with a bad game. Okay. I think that although Choice sees it as his responsibility not to say anything bad about the game because it would hurt the community, I feel like it is my responsibility to speak up and say something about the game, because otherwise we're going to end up with a bad game, right? Neither of us is necessarily wrong in our thinking, right? But we have two different approaches to meeting the same goal. We both want to see BDO improve. We do. We want to see the community do really well. We just have different ideas of how to get there. I want to wax your head for you. I love you, Blue, no matter what you play. Thank God.
Yeah, welcome back to another video.
So again, Anfield, all this to say, Anfield has not really spoken about this at all. He never really spoke in partner chat very often. He's very soft-spoken. He kind of stays in his lane. He doesn't say very much. So for him to publish the current state, like my thoughts of the current state of BDO, I think kind of says a lot.
Today's video was supposed to be gear progression. I was going to talk about or highlight how I've sort of changed my gear and how much progress I've made since the video.
Do you guys want me to ruin this video for you? You'll never unsee it.
I made 2 months ago, the outline plans just before Land of the Morning Light came out of what I was going to do, how I was going to progress, and what it was going to look like. So that was mainly due to the addition of sovereign weapons. I didn't know at the time that Kara's had weapons or accessories.
I will bear this cross for you guys. I will bear this cross for you. You are welcome.
We're going to come into the game. So a lot's changed since I made that video, and I did have plans. However, every time I've tried to make this video, in that fashion, I've struggled. I don't really know what to say, because every time I try to talk about it, and what has happened since that video is a little depressing sounding.
Welcome to the doomer side of the fence, man. Glad to have you.
I guess so. What this video is going to be instead is a little bit more of a fireside chat. I'm just going to talk to you guys about my feelings on the game, my hopes for the game.
I bet his like ratio is way lower on his video than his normal videos.
Silverwolf97 just resubscribed for 2 months. Haven't we been very lenient with PA for years of bad choices, and it has only gotten worse with time? Also, I love you, mate. Gonna watch no matter what you play.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Silverwolf. Welcome back for 2 months, man. I really appreciate you coming back to support me across multiple months. It does mean a lot to me, and it says that, you know, I'm pushing my content in a positive direction, which is really, really good, because I'm constantly anxious right now. You know, I'm nervous about branching my content out the way that I am. I think him being depressed about the current state of the game, not a good thing. But I think that we've been lenient with PA for years. You're absolutely right. But you understand that I've only been around for the last, 2 years or so of the Black Desert community, right? I've only been around the last 2 years. And if you remember the first year that I was I guess 3 years technically, but I've only been a larger content creator for like the last 2 years. And in those 2 years before me, there was no content creator that really spoke out and really was like a pit bull and like really lashed out at PA for doing incorrect things with their game. D-Jules would have been the closest person to that, but D-Jules never did YouTube, so it was different. Again, I think that I've kind of rubbed, I hope I haven't rubbed Choice the wrong way. I love Choice, and I hope that, because I haven't spoken to him. I DM'd him recently. I said, thank you for taking your trip to Perlibus. So he took that really responsibly, and it was really important to him, and it was very clear he did a great job with it, and I just wanted to thank him for it. And so we had a brief conversation about that. But I understand that pretty much every other content creator in this category does not feel the way that I do about sharing feedback about the game. That's no secret. And I understand that some content creators do not like me because I've shared my negative thoughts about the game over the last 6 months or so, or 8 months or so now. But you remember for a long time, I was kind of like the face of BDO for a long time, in that I was just making content all the time. People called me a dick sucker. Oh, he's just a PA dick writer, right? I would just always say positive stuff. So when I switched to making more negative content about the game, it should really have spoken to people that the game has just shifted and it was a really bad change. And you'll notice, you can see that reflected in the player numbers for the game now. It's it's not like I'm speaking out because, I'm jaded about the game. No, I'm speaking out because I don't want to see the game go down the wrong path. And admittedly, I do it a lot differently than the other content creators do. I do. No one else really does it this way. And it wasn't until I kind of led the charge on it that it kind of started happening. And I shoulder that responsibility, and it's my fault. But I also think that it's a responsibility. We have a responsibility as creators to try to give. We're supposed to reach the developers. PA cannot do it. The CMGM team, they can't reach the developers. They can't do it. They'll never tell you that. They talk to the developers every week. Doesn't matter. The developers might as well have headphones, be listening to music. Doesn't matter. Doesn't hear them. The forums, you ain't reaching them, okay? But some content does reach their ears. For sure, I knew that some content does reach their ears. And so, I felt like as creators, we should speak out and do something about it. And so, I don't know. PA's been very lenient. We've been lenient on PA in the past, but as long as I've been a creator, I wouldn't say I've been lenient on Perlibus. I would say that I've been fair. When they do correct things, I am nothing but positive about the game. When they do shitty things and make bad decisions, I shit on them hard. I come down on them hard for it because I feel like it's my responsibility to do that. Now, some people say that that's a bad thing to do and it hurts the game. I can see that argument. And other people would say that I'm doing the Lord's work. It kind of really just depends on what camp you're in.
And where I'm at with it.
Content creators are the voice of the players. And I want to be really clear. That should never be the case. It should not be this way. That's how up Perlibus is. It should not be me, guys. It shouldn't be Choice. It shouldn't be D-Jules. It shouldn't be Sword Kings. It shouldn't be Biceptimus. It shouldn't be Divios. It shouldn't be any of us. Why the are the creators the only ones that you listen to? What are we talking about? There's such a up system. Please just listen to your players. Why are we living in this universe? Why the are you listening to Blue Squadron's content at all? Just go open your forums, you morons. What are we doing?
And why things have happened the way they have. So I think the easiest way is to show you why it was so difficult for me to make the video in the first place. So my initial video was talking about my gear. Now what I had before was an Evasion build Ranger. This was before we had the new accessories in there.
Because they're Koreans, they don't respect anyone who isn't Korean. That's it. There it is. And I hate to say it, a lot of people are on the copium that actually isn't the case. I hate to say this, guys. I've met the devs like 2 or 3 times now at the balls. 2 times specifically. Alejandro 3 times. But like, there's only one reason that they listen to me. And it's because my YouTube channel is powerful to them, right? They see my YouTube channel as an objective threat, the Korean office. The North American office has always seen me as an asset for the most part, right? Till recently, till the new guy. But like, they kind of see me as a threat. They see most YouTubers as a threat, right? It's not just me, right? It's most YouTubers, right? Any YouTuber and that's why we don't have very many YouTubers in the BDO category that make like a crazy amount of content for the game. A lot of the YouTubers do guides and stuff like that. They do not like they're deathly afraid of negative PR coverage about their game that reaches outside the BDO community. It's about the money. Yeah, they're deathly afraid of negative PR content from content creators in general. There's a reason, like, guys, they dissolved their partner program in Korea. They dissolved it. That's how little they give a fuck about, like that's how little they don't want to support content creators. They don't like content creators. They don't. Not the Korean office anyway. They're not fans. Okay. And the content creators that they do have that are big, like they kind of like, they try to make Hugh happy. Hugh Hotbar, Hugh's a great guy, but they try to keep Hugh as happy as possible because Hugh is both Korean and a very large content creator for their game. They see Hugh as like Korean Jesus. Okay. Cause he's their largest creator right now. It's not even a question for Korea, Prolibus. Like Hugh and good. And honestly, lately Hugh's content, have you guys noticed? Hugh's kind of turned the corner a little bit. Hugh used to be like super staple positivity guy. And he's been a little critical of them lately. You know what I mean? Hugh's always shitting on him. Yeah, like I tuned into him. Yeah, I tuned into him the other day. I was like, damn, he's kind of...
This is what happened when a foreigner invaded South Korea like John Somali.
Oh, God, yeah. Like, I hope that they don't see me like Johnny Somali. What are we talking about? But like... Yep, you noticed. Yeah, so he's kind of turned the corner a little bit. He's kind of shitting on PA. And do you know why he's shitting on PA? It's because they've up their game and Hugh is making a lot less money now than he was before. All of the content creators, whether they're willing to say it or not, are making less money than they were 12 months ago. Like a lot less money. Like a percentage less. Like a large percentage less, right? And it's because they keep up their game, and no matter how much we scream at them to change it, they're just not, right? And that's very frustrating. And I think eventually it always does end up coming down to the money in a lot of cases. But I think in Hugh's case, they've kind of taken away even what Hugh loved about the game. And so, like, I don't know, I can't speak for Hugh. I know that Hugh doesn't really like my content very much because he feels I'm too negative about the game. But I can tell you right now, the Korean office for Perlibus is not happy with what Hugh says about the game. They're not happy. And like, they're scared of content creators more than they respect them. They like Koreans, right? If you're Korean, they typically respect you more. They respect your opinion more. They'll listen to you more. But if you're a foreigner, they must fear you or they literally won't make any changes on your, like that you try to give them, right? The United Nations podcast was valuable because they were scared of how the community came together in that moment. Okay, us doing and maybe I should do another UN podcast. Maybe I should do another UN podcast. Maybe I'll do one after the Calpheon Ball if I can pull people together. The problem with the UN podcast is it's very difficult to find people from back then. There were enough people playing in every region that I could always find creators and like communities that could come represent their region. Now I don't feel that there's enough people to represent each region. I've got Mina, I've got Kendaya, right? He's got a large enough community and people will come voice their opinions in his chat. I don't really have anyone for Asia anymore that will do it. Ham454 doesn't really stream very much anymore. He streams like Siege and like that's it. SA, that guy isn't like, Zeus is not playing anymore. And so they're not going to be in it. Most of the EU creators have all quit, right? It's basically just me. Of all of the people that were on the UN podcast, I'm the only survivor with maybe Yam. That's it. Bro Bear doesn't play anymore either. Like nobody plays anymore. Talk to Chris Polly. I'd love to. I can't get a hold of him. But like, and he's Mina too. So that's Kendaya. So like, it's difficult to bring people together again because they've killed their game so much that a lot of creators have given up. Like, there's no secret that like the Twitch category for BDO, the YouTube category for BDO, all of the content creators for BDO have basically moved on. Like over 60% of our creators are no longer in the category anymore, right? Like that's not a good thing, right? And the reason is they're not getting paid anymore. Like you don't get paid any money for streaming BDO. Like everyone's just stopped playing the game. And when people stop playing the game, they stop subscribing to you. When people stop playing the game, they stop watching you. They stop going back to your YouTube channel, right? Like it's hard to maintain viewers in a long-term fashion like this. And so you feel forced to branch out. I feel so bad for all of those creators that all felt like they had to make that jump. Now I give a big shout out to Vert. I'll give a big shout out to Massilis and Karen, and D-Jules, who are actually making it in Throne of Liberty. They're doing a really good job. I'd say their viewership is about 50 or 60% of what was in BDO, but they're still in the triple digits, which is really powerful. They're really high up in the category. They're getting that visibility and they're building a new foundation from scratch. It's really good to see. It's very healthy for those creators and it's very good, but like they shouldn't have to do that. They shouldn't, and neither should I, right? We all just want to stream BDO. We love BDO. But like the developers just refuse to listen to anyone, even us anymore. And like they've tanked their game. Like it's frustrating, you know?
In the game, no Karazad. So I had like a Centaur belt. I also had a swap in for a Pen Ethereal earring. And that was always how I built my Ranger. I don't.
Oh my God. Yo, for as long as I can remember, Anfield has always had way more gear than me. Way more gear than I have had. Like, he has always outgeared me by 20 to 30 gear score, usually. He actually has less gear score than I do now. I have all of these things. I don't quite have a sept. I think my sovereign isn't as far along. Right, and I don't have pen. I have one of them is pen, the other one is not pen. So I have Tet. So that's like nothing though. I can just tap that like now if I wanted to. That's like whatever. The sept is really the only thing that I don't have, right? He also has a Tet sovereign here, but like I'm very close. He doesn't have a Wailing Fallen God. I do have Wailing Fallen God. So like, yeah, he still has slightly more gear than me, but this is the closest I've ever been to Anfield in gear score ever. Like I'm really close to this.
Don't have any of those evasion accessories anymore.
Nah, you ain't even close. I don't think so, man. I match most of these accessory slots. It used to be that every single slot of his was better than every single slot of mine. Now I match him in all 4 armor slots. I actually beat him on my chest piece is actually stronger. So my armor is actually further along. My necklace is exactly the same. Belt's the same. Both the rings are the same. Earrings the same. This earring, I could tap it right now. Boom. And it would be the same. Whatever. I have one sovereign that is Tet. So I match this, boom, but I do not have this. So I'm literally missing like 1 gear piece. But I also don't think that he has like a 500 billion silver life skilling set like I have. So like, yeah, I think that overall, I think that I've kind of caught up here.
Penton Red Belt I did have originally for if I ever played Succession or
Damn.
PvE, obviously.
And by the way, that's not because I've been like grinding and like, oh, I caught up. It's because he's not playing the game.
Those are gone. I was able to replace the belt with
And I'm AFK fishing, baby. Goated.
a Karazad. However, the Centaur belt and the Ethereal, I melted and sold the Essence of Dawn so I could slam click this weapon.
Nice.
So I actually don't have even the crystals. I have only AP crystals.
I only have AP crystals too.
So yeah, I don't have a evasion crystal now. Eventually, if they do something about PvP, which we'll get into in a second, I will work on them. But
yeah, I don't really feel any motivation to do any of the other crystals right now. I don't.
For the time being, I
actually heard that the damage reduction crystals are kind of goated on like a full DP build. If you go like the full damage reduction crystal setup, it's a little stupid.
I just don't see the point. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. I don't have them anymore. I sold them so I could click Oct on this. I didn't get it, but I'm 25 clicks in, so hopefully soon.
They're insanely expensive. Wait, how expensive are we talking here? Oh my God. What the the evasion ones are still more expensive. But like, I heard the DR was actually crazy good. Like, if you're going for a full DP build, these are garbage if you're going for like an AP build at all. But like,
so yeah, that's kind of where we're at, right? So okay, we have gotten the sovereign weapon since the video was made, and we have gotten the Karazad, which I didn't know about when I made the video. We don't have the PvP artifacts, which I did touch upon in the video, simply because I got about like 80% of the way to buying one from Fragments, and then I just sold them all so I could click Oct again.
Nice.
So yeah. Oh, also I have my shoes are changed to DR just so that it's easier in PvE, because you know PA doesn't know how to make it so that evasion actually works in PvE at any.
This is this is that's how you know the game is completely it's not good enough. DR is not good enough that he should be running both DR things, right? But like, he's like, it, I'll run one and I'll run one, right? And I would argue that the fact that he feels like 1 and 1 is actually a good build in PvE actually speaks to how close evasion and DR actually are. I think that DR is still better in PvE, like kind of on the whole. I'd say it's like 60 or 70% of spots you're going to be a little stronger with DR for sure. But you can tell that like if it was fully stronger with DR, he would have both. He would have both of these would be DR. Like for sure, and it's not. So like, I'd say it's actually pretty close.
In game, so for the time being, it makes more sense to have DR shoes.
If you're a new player, please don't do this. Okay, the only reason he's doing this is because he's in an incredibly end game build and he can make hybrid work. Okay, please don't do this. If you don't know which one to go, just go DR. But like, or you can just watch my gear guide.
So yeah, that's a quick overview of what has changed. You can go back and watch the video if you want. I had double pen Tungrad rings. I had a pen Deba, which is now the Nove. I had a pen Tungrad, and I've been able to make a pen Karazad belt to replace it. My two Tet Debo earrings are now obviously pen Karazad earrings. That's it. And then obviously the Sep and the Tet. My dream was to get Oct, but I was...
DR for Suck Musa? No, I think Musa needs to be evasion.
I had not acknowledged that was super unlikely to happen in my video. I said I would...
You can ask Azure, though.
Be happy with Hex or Sep. I've got Sep, which is great, and now we're working on Oct. For this, I'm just going to leave it because I don't want to spend any crons clicking pen on this when I still need them for the Sep. So that's where I'm at with that. Not too much else to say about gear, I think.
That's
I mean,
it.
like
Yeah,
I said, every
like
time I
cooked.
thought about it, it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of where I'm at. Now, again, just like reiterate the problem with I had making the video, and I've explained this on stream because my friend Cleach, shout out, he's like, oh, you should go for the Karazad. It makes more sense for an AP point that you can get those way cheaper, upgrade your Karazad accessories than getting Oct. And he's absolutely correct.
Yep.
But I don't care. And the reason I don't care is that I don't feel like gear progression means anything. So the reason I want Oct,
And you're removed from the partner program. Later, bitch.
even though it's gear progression, is because it has a better glow. That is it.
Base.
There's no secret. Let me just take this off because I...
So based. Yeah, the only real reason you want Oct is because you want the glow on your weapon to be cooler. True, dude. That's what would motivate me to do it too. So true.
don't like that BSR thing. There's no secret. I want a bigger glow on my awakening weapon. That's literally what it comes down to. It's not a gear progression thing.
Homie plays Ranger, man. Fashion's what it's all about.
BDO should lean more into. You know, they release things and people go crazy for them, and then they just like don't do it for a long time. Like, you know, it seems crazy to me. You know, like simple things like the tier 10 Pegasus and alternate skin, but you could have just done that as like a rare achievement. You know, like the Nightmare Pegasus was.
So true again. Another based take. Very true. They just don't have enough cosmetic ways to customize your character that like you can achieve through like get an achievement in game, have a cool cosmetic thing that other people don't have. You know what I mean? It's just not something that we have. We used to have things like the Orzeka outfit, which were like badass. And like you walked around in Orzeka, you're like, oh, that guy was cool. But now everyone's got an Orzeka. It's a joke. They like hand them out. It's basically login rewards essentially now. Like it's a complete joke. Like, That's it.
You know, because, I mean, look, you could literally recolor this thing like green or purple and make it rare and hard to achieve, and people go nuts even though it doesn't mean anything, you know?
Fucking true. So true. If you have this and then your Guru 10 horse training, you can change your Doom to a green Doom horse.
I don't understand why they don't do more.
I'd do it.
Things on appearance. I mean, this thing desperately needs a brand new skin, not a recolor, because I have to put this outfit on or it looks hideous.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The only outfit that looks good on the unicorn is the Okia set. Tell me I'm wrong.
that's kind of that. I don't like gear-wise. I just don't feel motivated, and it's okay if you do. By the way, if you're watching this video and don't empathize, and you're like, I'm so motivated. I love grinding more gear to go in circles. That's totally fine.
I think that is the vast minority of players. I think the overwhelming super majority of players either feel discouraged about all of the new updates to the game and they feel like their gear progression doesn't matter anymore and they're not motivated to go get new gear progression, or they feel like it's just all the same now and there's nothing to grind for anyway, so like they don't want to have to go grind like 1,000,000 hours to get 3 more AP. Like players just aren't motivated to go out and grind anymore. I think that like if you are somebody that is like, oh my god, I've never been more motivated to grind right now, and you're like an end game player, I think that you're in the bottom 3% of the community in terms of like 97% of players do not like having to grind this end game shit out right now.
It's just not where I'm at. I play the game for PvP.
Anamos too. True, Anamos is good.
What I enjoy the most. I love the combat in the game, like anybody, but I don't think the combat is enough for me to just kill mobs aimlessly. I think it's enough for some people who...
Frozenox, no, you cannot say blackfishing online. That has other implications, so we're going to go ahead and...
will kill mobs endlessly for the sake of progression, but also some people that will basically pick up the game, play for a little bit, and then put it aside and aren't really serious long-term players all the time. They just kind of come in and out, check out new content.
Wait, why is that fit fire, though? That's the BD9 outfit. It's one of my favorite outfits in the whole game that they've released. I even did a cosplay for it with Laz.
Kill some mobs, remember the combat's really fun, and then get bored and put it down again. I think, personally, the vast majority of people... I think PA has really hurt the veteran player base.
Dramatically, they have. You 2-tapped a Pen Debo belt. Not you. It's fake. Didn't happen. Made it up. Photoshopped.
And it sucks because they have made some really good changes. So I bought a boat, for example. I've always wanted this, and I was excited when they announced eventually they were going to allow us to buy carracks. I've not really done that much bartering. I don't know what my bartering level is.
Congrats, though. You're huge, man. Your dick is massive. I played BDO for the first time 5 years ago. Or some months only. Now I played for approximately 3 months following your guidance, and I'm enjoying the game. It might be because it's really easy for new players now. I see the problems, though, and starting to understand the frustration. Well, here's the thing. If you're a new player watching me, and there's probably a fair amount of you, hi guys, welcome. Like if you're a new player or a mid-game player, you're probably not running into this frustration yet. You're probably just not there. This pretty exclusively, he's talking about, hi guys, hi. He's talking about veteran players and the veteran experience of BDO. BDO used to speak to much different players than it speaks to today. Okay, it used to speak to a very PvP-centric veteran player base. Even though not everyone did PvP and not everyone liked PvP, you were grinding because of PvP, one way or another. It was always in the back of your mind, and subconsciously, that's what you were kind of like. Okay, there's a purpose here. There's a purpose to this grind, right? And they've removed the PvP from the game. And then now everyone is looking objectively. Those same veteran players are looking objectively at all their changes to gear progression. And they're saying, well, this progression system also sucks. Wait, what the So something that they were willing to put up with before as a veteran player was using cronstones for a lot of different gear upgrades. And then like, you know, the convergence of a lot of different gear paths. But like, they never really cared too much. But now you've taken away their content. Now that all they can focus on is PvE and life skilling content. Now they don't really feel like they want to grind 1,000 hours to get their sovereign weapon, right? They don't feel like it's a meaningful enough upgrade that they're going to go do that. Like, it's just not worth it, right? And like, they're not going to go grind another 1,000 to get one more AP out of their sovereign, right? Or their Charizard, right? Or alternatively, their motivation to play the game is at an all-time low, right? For a lot of players, their motivation, not just PvPers, a lot of players, motivation to play the game is at an all-time low. And then they introduce Sovereign Charizard back to back. So a player that was on top of the gear curve before now has all of this new stuff to go out and do, right? And all of these new players are now right hot on their tails with Charizard, right? All of the upgrades that they spent forever to get, the new players are jumping through, like, they're bam, bam, bam. They're already there, right? And now they just feel overwhelmed. Like the people are catching up to them too quickly, and they can't progress fast enough forward, and there's just too much to do now. I think it's just a conglomeration of a lot of issues that has basically obliterated a lot of players' motivation to play Black Desert Online at the moment. Whether it be the PvP change or the fact that they've released a shitload of gear changes very quickly, and it's just demotivating a lot of people.
Beginner 2.
Will the BD9 outfit ever come back to the shop? I missed it, sadly. I'm 100% positive that they will have that for sale next month or this month. There is no way that they don't sell that. That is one of their best selling outfits of the year, probably. Like, for sure, they're going to give it away this month for like the new year or something.
But I've always wanted a Carrack, and so I was able to buy a Volante.
They would be stupid not to sell it. Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I'm so sorry. I love Anfield. I hate that he got to buy a boat. I think this is stupid. I think that all of the boat players probably agree with me on this. Most of the time, I think that catch-up mechanics are great. This is not a catch-up mechanic. This is a way for other players to immediately have the same progress that I have, spending hundreds of hours on the ocean. Like, you have to spend over 100 in-game active hours to make your character normally. And this is a big part of what, like, man, you love the ocean in the game and you want to sail around and do this stuff, right? You start with a Bartali boat and makes it a sailboat, which makes it into a caravel, and then you make it into the big Carrack, and that's like this really exciting thing. And then you can go out and do your blue gear and whatnot. That's like a big journey for a lot of players, and I think that it was very important that you had to work hard. If you were going to have a Carrack, you had to work hard in order to have that Carrack. That was important. And now, anybody that grinds can just buy a Carrack. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, just buy a Carrack. And then they just sit there and look at it. So now they've essentially taken, and those players, they're not going to go around and sail. Okay? So they're not going to go play the game. They're not going to go out and kill sea monsters. They might do it once. Oh, cool, I have a Carrack now. Then they're going to put it away. They're never going to use it again. Okay? They're just not going to use it. What you've done, effectively, is you've devalued all of the player work that went into getting a Carrack before, and all of the sailors that loved, like, sailing. You've completely obliterated, like, all of their progress. Like, now somebody can just sell a piece of gear and immediately have a Carrack. It's so bullshit. It's so bullshit. I hate this. It took away one of the very core aspects of why I liked sailing, and that was you have to work hard to get to that Carrack, and it feels really good and meaningful along the way, and you, like, learn things about the ocean as you go. Now you just skip straight to the Carrack, and you can do your first barter on a Carrack, and that will also be your last barter because you probably just don't like it. You're like, yeah, this isn't worth it, and then you just put it back, right? Before, you used to have to work up to your Carrack, and then you appreciated getting to your Carrack because bartering was so much better, or sea monster hunting was so much better once you had the Carrack. The quality of life change was massive. Now you're just like, still isn't as good as grinding, so I'm gonna go back. None of those players are gonna keep doing the ocean content. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, all you did was devalue what the actual ocean players wanted out of the game. Sure, there's a lot of people in the game that are like, oh yeah, I always wanted a boat, and this gives me an opportunity to get that boat. You're just gonna sit with it in your wharf. No one cares about your opinion. If you really cared that much about getting a boat and you like the ocean that much, you'd go do it. Okay? All you did was devalue the people that actually did go do it. Sorry.
Bartering, I don't know what my bartering level is. Beginner 2. But I've always wanted a Carrack, and so I was able to buy a Volante.
Does the ocean make you 1.2 billion an hour? No. I have a top of the line advance with basically perfect sailors and full blue gear, great sailing level, like 1700 mastery because I have TED accessories and a pen chest piece or whatever. And I'm telling you right now, I'm making maybe 300 million an hour. Maybe. Because you can do all 3 barter runs, but in order to do them in a sustainable way, like you can't, if I just did all my T5s and my Crow coins, I could probably make like 400 to 500 million an hour, but I can only do that a few times. And then I'd have to make no money for a couple runs. So in order to do it sustainably, I'd say you're making 300 to 400 million an hour on the top end. And you can only do that for a maximum of 4 hours a day. Maximum. Right? And if you have anything less than what I have, it's going to take you longer and you're going to make less money. So I have the best ratio on my boat. Short of having an Ebon Roost Null, which isn't going to help very much.
So that should tell you something. I spent like 28 billion.
What ship's good for bartering? What's good for sea monster hunting? You're looking at the advance almost every time. For bartering, the advance every time. And you're 95% of what you're going to do on the ocean is bartering, so the advance is the best boat on the water. The Volante is the best PvP boat in the game because it has a lot of speed. It's also very good in PvE. The Valor is the best PvE boat in the game, VALOR, the one with the dragon on the front of the boat. Or I guess the lion on the front of the boat if you don't have the skin. That one is the best PvE boat in the game because it fires the fastest, right? And it's also very good in PvP, but it's not as good as the Volante is, and it's the worst boat in the game for bartering. The Balance is the worst boat in the game for everything. Don't buy a Balance. People don't build balances, people build mistakes.
A Carrack that I don't even actually use. I just wanted it because it's cool as hell. This kind of thing, I do think that like they don't lean into enough, like cool stuff like this. I mean, bartering kind of sucks.
There it is. This is the first time he's driven this boat around. Second time he's driven this boat around. I mean, bartering kind of sucks, right? I just wanted a boat. He literally just bought this, doesn't give a
the money at the money. Well, that's true too. At the moment, anyway. But the fishing they upgraded, which is kind of cool. So you know,
only AFK fishing. So we're all AFK fishing right now. Anybody caught AFK fishing right now? Yep.
More integration for having a Carrack. I mean, some people are. I guess you don't really need a Carrack, but you know, people taking them out to like Ara, or is it Harkov and not Arazahaza?
He doesn't even know Harkov, and he's sounding it out.
Island and stuff like that. So you know, people are definitely.
It's not a boat person.
Definitely doing it, but.
Bro, if you look really closely, you can see a pirate out there. You know what I mean? They're like just out of render distance, and they're like, come on, keep coming, come on. I can tell you right now that the red sailors, the day the boats went up for sale, were all sitting in the Velia Harbor waiting for these little piglets, like a sexual predator waiting in the bushes, like ridiculous.
You don't really need a Carrack for that. So it'd be cool if they did more things with bartering or ship combat and stuff. Because they're really cool. And I've always wanted one.
It's the info blue, yeah. No problem, buddy. They're all over Hackavan. I fished with a sub 50 now.
So I mean,
okay. Do you want my min-max fishing guide? Hold on. I'm so sorry. I'm going to interrupt the video a little bit here. Guys, I sailed my best Carrack all the way out to Hackavan, and I loaded it up with all my T5 mats. So you know what I do every day? I fish off the side of the boat with my sub 50 barterer, and then I sail around the island. I do the Hackavan exchange. I refresh. I do it again. I instant refresh, and I do it again. And then I sail back around and I throw the rod back in the water. I'm gaming. It's min-max to the extreme. I am such a gamer. I was like, dude, I don't care anymore.
I mean, it's not loads to talk about, and I don't want to shit on the game, but I do think that their attempts to diminish PvP has really been bad. I mean,
yes.
That's not including the worst part for me, which is that, like,
yes,
for a long time, capped PvP has been...
Imagine driving a Bartali boat now that you can buy a Carrack.
Like, the PvP. And they've been taking away more and more reasons to do uncapped PvP. which is, at the moment you've got like tier 5 node wars, which is, let's not even get into node wars, and then siege, and some sieges only are uncapped. That's crazy. Given a game that used to be everything was uncapped. I don't disagree with capped, by the way. I'm not attacking capped PvP. I've enjoyed capped PvP sometimes. But there needs to be a reason to progress. And even when I was in a capped guild, because I was taking the game more casually, we would always fight guilds that were like, a similar level, right? Like, despite being a PvP guild, we weren't always fighting the biggest siege guild with all the gear. So it was always kind of nice that there was like an equilibrium, an ecosystem that would develop for like GVGs. So it may be uncapped, but you would still face guilds that were a similar level to you oftentimes. And every little Timmy casual swears that their little life skill guild got warred into submission by a big siege guild who definitely spent their time hunting them down for no reason at all.
Bro, that's so rare, and no one ever gave a shit about that. Like, the reason that siege guilds would hunt life skilling guilds, it's a don't start none, won't be none. Okay? If you don't run your mouth, the only reason a guild like Corrupt, Cho, or Digi would ever, or even on EU, would ever like Conquer, would ever like go to hunt a life skilling guild is because they were talking shit. Like a mad amount of shit. And so, yeah, they're just going to run them down for a little while, and then they'll stop talking shit, and then that's it. That wasn't even really a problem. The problem was hunting players server to server and exploiting the system. Shouldn't have allowed it.
I mean, it's always been like that.
So you don't need to chop 20k logs or whatever insanity it was now? You haven't had to chop logs for a boat in a really long time. Like a really, really long time. Like, I don't remember the last time I had to go out and... Let's see. And I'm the one that makes the boat guides. You do, from upgrading from Bartali to the Etheria sailboat, technically you need those... You need, like, the standardized crystal or standardized timber scores or whatever. But, like, you just buy them off the market now. You never have to gather logs anymore. You haven't had to gather logs in probably 4 years now.
Where, people will say things and I'm just like,
Haul the crates down the stairs. I loved that about building my boat. That's how I built my frigate. I used to have to do the dailies every day. And when I look back on it, I'm happy I had to do that. It took 20 days to make my Etheria frigate. But it felt meaningful when I got it. Yeah, I chopped for mine. Yeah, I had to gather coral. Like...
Yeah, definitely things that happened. But in general, like, I mean, there's, especially now, there's so many ways to escape a GVG in terms of channel cooldowns being 5 minutes, in terms of the fact that you can have a home channel, the protection system, which shouldn't still exist in the game. And it's ironic, I think, that GVGs, the system that
I'll let him finish.
That allows players the fairest level of PvP is gone, and that, like, negative karma red players are still in the game, and it just
negative karma red players don't exist anymore. It's an extinct species. I see like one every like 4 months. It just doesn't happen. Nobody wants to do that anymore. I disagree with him. I think that protection as a system in the game was an objectively good thing that they should have reinforced. I think that they should have encouraged people to use protection, and they shouldn't have. I think they should have expanded on it. For those of you that don't know, you could place a guild member under protection and they can't be hit by war targets unless the war target flags, and then they can lose karma and still kill you and have it contribute to the war score. And that was the problem. I think that if you expanded the protection system to basically be, if you had the old one-sided deck system and you expanded protection so that you could put people under protection, and if they could flag and kill them, but it would not contribute to the war score, that would be a W. Okay. But then you'd have to bring one-sided decks back, which isn't going to happen. But also on the other side of it, the protection system was abused a lot. And so you would need to ban people that were abusing the protection system. Okay. Particularly it was the Shies would abuse this all the time. And this is why Shies are generally just horrible human beings. And I joke about them being child terrorists, but on God as my witness, I've never found more toxic people in a community than Shies. Like, whether it be the Discord community, and like they're just like some You guys know the type of people that I'm talking about, okay? Or the like interactions with these little cretins in game. These people are just horrible. I hate these people. 80 carry players, yeah, they're just miserable. Now, this is not to say that all shies are like this. Like, there are some shies that I really enjoy. Utaru, yeah, you're fine, buddy. Yeah, like you're good. But like, well, let's be honest, you're part of the problem. You like feet. But like, a lot of shies are really toxic. And part of what they would do, guys, is they would put a shy under protection, and then the shy would show up to the GVG. And the shy could buff everyone for free the whole time. And heal everyone for free the entire time without being hit, unless the enemy guild flagged up and killed them, and then they would lose a lot of karma and go red. Okay, and then they would lose all their crystals and their gear and stuff. So it was like this super toxic thing that I saw abused by shies more than anything else. And I think that if the protection system was being abused, all Pluribus had to do was to just ban these degenerate losers. Just ban them. If somebody has video evidence of someone abusing the protection system, yeah, ban that person. Okay, done. Easy. 3-day ban. You start actually, somebody abusing the one-sided deck system, no problem. Just ban them. They're hunting a player server to server and destroying their game experience. And it's about hunting the player and not the guild. Yeah, ban that person. 100%. Done. Every time. That's all they had to do. Bring back one-sided decks and do your jobs. That's the CMGM team, by the way. Do your jobs. Like, bring back one-sided decks and then do your jobs. But nobody wanted to ban anyone. Everyone was so nervous about banning anyone that broke the rules or said the N-word. Like, do you guys remember for years, you could just, like, say slurs and shit, and, like, people would just not get in trouble? I would report people for saying death threats and shit. Nothing. People would report people for, like, putting up bells with your full name on it. People would pop bells. They would make their character name your name, right? And then they would pop a bell, and the whole server now knows your name. Not banned. Totally fine. Everything's fine. Because technically, anyone could have that name. It's fine. Like, Pluribus defended the most toxic players in our community for years. They never gave a players just hunting streamers down or hunting just normal players down and other guilds down for years and just running them into the ground in Discord and like IRL and in game. And Pluribus just like was totally okay with it and supported these people for years. Like, there was no one that Pluribus supported more than the racists in our community. On God. Until they finally changed their TOS.
To expand on that a little bit, if you have a GVG, you know, let's say I'm grinding.
Like, it was never about defending the players that were the victims. It was never about, like, you guys. You guys know how you're grinding in PvE and, like, somebody hunts you server to server. A lot of us have dealt with this. Maybe not the new players as much, but, like, the veteran players, we've all dealt with it before. Somebody's literally hunting you server to server and, like, constantly trying to find you and hunt you down. It's just really toxic behavior. Pluribus actively defended the person doing that to you instead of you. That's shitty. That was shitty for a long time. And those same people, oh my God, they would say some crazy shit, right? And Pluribus never banned them. And likewise, I'll be honest with you, as much as you want to say that the PvPers are the most toxic members of our community, I think that the most toxic people in our community are actually the PvEers. I know that's a hot take, but I think if you piss off a PvPer, it's kind of like when guys fight. When two men have a dispute, they argue with each other, and then that's it, right? They fight it out and they're done, right? They move on. But when two women fight, it's forever. It is literally forever. They're gonna hold this grudge for the rest of their life. I know PvEers in this community that can remember the exact family name of somebody that ran onto the rotation in 2017 and killed them. And to this day, if they find those players on the server, they will just run it down and grief them into the ground. Like, elephants never forget. And yes, I'm playing at their weight. But like, also, like, PvEers are by far the most toxic people because those are the people that just grind over you. A PvPer is going to kill you, right? And probably move on. A PvEer is going to just grind over the top of you, and then I've heard some PvEers say some nasty shit. Not as bad as some of the shit that the PvPers say, but some nasty shit. And then they hold on to that grudge forever. They try to figure out who you are IRL. They try to call you on your phone. It's those people. Those people are freaks. Like, those people are absolute freaks. And again, those people should be banned too. I just want to be clear that anyone that comes in and is actively just disrupting your gameplay on multiple servers, somebody comes in and starts grinding over the top of you, yeah, you should be able to flag and kill them. But like, or you should be able to just swap servers and not have them follow you again. What a PvEer will do is they'll grind over the top of you, then they'll find you again, because this is what they do now. If they really hate you, they'll find you doing Dekia, and they'll just take your mobs, which is frustrating. So you turn your lantern off, you swap servers, and then they're going to come find you. They're going to do it again, and again, and again, and again. They're not going to flag on you. They're going to try to kill you. Then they would get punished, right? They're just going to keep griefing you. Like, that's just how it works. Griefing always exists. It's on Perlibus to just ban these people. Like, it's literally just that simple. Just ban people. I've just hated that Perlibus felt like they had to change one-sided decks. Did not need to be changed at all. All they had to do was their jobs.
And some guy comes onto my grind spot, tries to grind over me. Okay, and let's say I'm successful in war in their guild within the old system. You know, even though we're both buffed for PvE, the people that come and help will then be buffed for PvP, and I'm going to go buff for PvP, and it's going to be worth it because the fight's going to last a while. If a negative karma player comes to you while you're grinding, they are absolutely buffed for PvP. You're buffed for PvE, which is a big problem. This is why Arsha has a huge problem.
Yep.
And then you're fighting in PvE gear, they're fighting in PvP gear. Every time I've swapped to PvP gear to fight a negative karma player, they've left.
Yeah.
You know,
there it is.
That's the problem with Arsha. Like,
that's the goal now. They're going to frustrate you enough to literally make you go change to your PvP set. So you got to swap add-ons, you got to swap crystals, you got to swap your drought, your perfume, everything, your gear, all of it. Okay, you finally get it. You cron meal, you pop it over the top, whatever, and then they just leave. Son of a bitch! It's so annoying, man.
Be like, oh, you're missing uncapped PvP. Just go on Arsha. Like, okay, let me go PvP buff, go on Arsha, and bully a bunch of...
And the craziest thing is, here's what the most toxic people do. You're grinding, right? You're grinding on this rotation. You're grinding on this rotation. This other guy comes in. This other guy comes in. And he's like, I am going to force you to swap to your PvP spec. The moment you swap to your PvP spec, he maps the town. He's gone. Then you're like, F me. You swap back to PvE, and then he runs back from town after you start grinding again, and he kills you again. I hate these people. I hate them.
People trying to grind
they're
PvE.
So annoying.
I mean, the game is so heavily like changed to be
a hard grief
in a way where like your buffs are so totally separate for PvP and PvE. Like, the gap is enormous.
He's 100% correct, but here's the thing. They could fix this with gear presets. Boom, done. The gear presets they said that we were going to get this year, and we didn't. Yeah. They just do gear presets. This problem goes away. It's not a problem. The bigger problem is that the system is broken. They've taken away one-sided decks, and I hate to say this to you guys. I'm going to break the veil again. I've said it before. I know that you keep believing these other streamers, and it's like, bring back one-sided decks, bring back one-sided decks. Come in here right now. They're not coming back. They're gone. Forever. That's it. They're done. They're not coming back. You're not getting one-sided decks back. They're 100% against it. It is not going to happen. It does not matter. Jae Kim has decided. Okay, so that dream is gone. The only dream that you can hope for is a new open world PvP system altogether. A reworked open world PvP system altogether. Or hardcore servers would be an interesting thought as well. That's what open world PvPers have to look forward to, is basically like potentially a rework in the open world, which probably also isn't coming, or hardcore servers, which is the more likely of the two. And I think that that's probably going to tank too. And I'm sorry, guys. But the Node War scene is what matters more than you guys. I'm so sorry, but more important than one-sided decks is the Node War scene. The Node Wars is what brings guilds together, and then open world PvP happens as a direct result of a prosperous Node War scene. good node war scene equals good open world PvP scene, as long as the system's there. So they could fix the open world scene altogether and it wouldn't do anything. Like you're not going to see PvP necessarily resurrect itself. They have to fix node wars and fix open world PvP together. Otherwise, it just won't have the effect that you want it.
In terms of the stats difference between the two, and like if you're PvP buffed, your PvE is abysmal. If you're PvE buffed, your PvE. And
they don't want to admit that their node war system is broken. They still cannot admit that their new node war system is dog shit. It's terrible. And the funny thing is the CMs used to fight me on it all the time. God, dude, I would say something in partner chat or I would say something to a CM or something, and the response was always exactly the same. He's always like, well, a lot of people are having fun with it, so I'm sorry that you're not having fun with it, but there's a lot of adventurers that are, so, you know. No, there's not. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to the players. Stop lying to everyone. Stop lying to yourselves. Your system sucks. It's terrible. You need to completely erase it and start over. With a system that is made by PvPers. Bring PvPers to your office and make a new node war system. It's just that simple.
PvP is abysmal, you know? And that's the problem with like...
What are the options for PvP now? You can do AOS and you can do Guild League. That's it.
Like Arsha, you know, unless you like arrange some kind of fight, you know, it just isn't enough. And GVGs were always my favorite type of content because you would rock up to a GVG and it was that player-made story of like, oh, this is a guild, we've got a long history.
Sounds scripted. I think the CMGMs were forced to say something in the opposite of the direction of the game. It's possible, right? And to be clear, I want to be really clear with everybody that it doesn't matter which CMGM you're talking to because they all share each other's situation. So like you could be talking to CM Corruption and Etsu's really the one that answered it. They help each other, right? They're all doing the same job, and everything you say to one CM, you should understand is said to the entirety of Pearl Abyss, okay? Because the whole team is going to read it. All right. So like you're not just talking to one CM, and even though you feel strongly that one CM is better than the others, it's probably not even just that CM. That's just the account that they happen to be using that day. That's just how it works. And you're right. They could be just saying what the company wants them to say. But like, if that is what the company wants them to say, I'm still just as mad because that means that Pearl Abyss is so delusional that they don't see it. I do sincerely believe that there are CMs on the CMGM team that understand fully why PvP is broken, and they've advocated for us as players any number of times. I could tell you exactly which 3 CMs advocate the most for us as a PvP player base, and I could tell you which CMs probably advocate the most for us as a PvE player base, right? Because they actually play the game. Like those people are some hardcore players. You know what I mean? Those are some giga players. All right. These people play the video game. Like they know the struggle, what we're going through. Damn. Company's just out of touch, man. Company's just out of touch. Do I buy Garmoths or inverted? Usually whatever you can get your hands on. Usually you're going to have to buy it as the normal Garmoth and then invert it. But sometimes you get lucky and you can buy the inverted one. Inverted's definitely a lot better. It's more bang for your buck. Because they're both the same price, and it costs money to change the Garmoth into an inverted. Inverted you can just put right into your gear, so it'd be better if you could get the inverted.
And this is, well, we found them over
here. It's 1 bill more, yeah, but it's way less work though.
Here we're fighting them and we ganked them, you know, that kind of thing was really, really, really fun, and it's a shame really that it, you know, I guess maybe a bunch of Korean streamers that tried the game from Lost Ark decided that they didn't want to do that anymore, and PA, instead of like banning any player that was taking it too far and literally following people through channels, they took the whole system away. So
based. God, you think I pre-watched this shit? I love Anfield. Me, dude. God, yeah, dude. So true. So true. Instead of just banning the people that were exploiting the system, they literally took the system away for tens of thousands of players around the world. Holy shit.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, that's that. And I am upset about Node Wars too, because let's be honest, that's a dumpster fire, but that's a whole other thing, whole other video. And I haven't done Node Wars in months, which should tell you quite a lot, I guess.
Anfield used to be like he used to stream Node Wars every day. He would do Node Wars all the time for Sovereign, right? Like he would do Node Wars constantly. He would do Siege. That was like his content. His primary content was PvP. That was the majority of what he did. The fact that he has not done Node Wars in months should speak to you how poor of a system they actually have. PvPers do not like their current Node Wars system. And I know what the developers would say is, it's easier for newer players to get into it. No, stupid. That's stupid with 2 O's. Okay. Do you want your Node Wars system to be approachable for new players? Absolutely. But you can do that with a complex system like the old Node Wars system had a much more thriving T1 scene than the current Node Wars system does. The current Node Wars system's T1 scene is like 4 guilds total. Okay. It was really high for a while, but that was because the scene was cannibalizing itself and eventually everyone just quit. Right. It looked like the T1 scene was amazing, but really it was kind of just a mirage. Now we see what the T1 scene actually looks like, which is a complete catastrophe. Right. And new players don't want to jump in. They don't want to do Node Wars anymore. Even though it's more approachable, they don't want to do it. The reason the Node Wars scene, the previous Node Wars scene was good was because the community carried it. The previous system was garbage too, but the community was able to carry it to be something that made it better. Right. That's why the old Node Wars scene was good. The community carried it on its back, and it encouraged new players to get involved in T1 Node Wars because they felt encouraged to go join a T1 guild. They didn't have to understand how recovery centers worked. They didn't have to understand how flame towers worked. They just had to show up for war, and their guild would do the rest. The veteran players that led that guild, it was their responsibility to teach the new players how to play the game. Right? And the community did exactly that. Okay. Our T1 scene would teach all of the new players coming in how to do Node Wars one way or another, and it would really motivate people to continue playing the game. Now, Pearl Abyss has no idea how the PvP scene actually operates, so they made a system where any guild can just drop on the Node War scene and just like, go fight in like a free-for-all fun, right? That doesn't teach new players that PvP is fun. That doesn't teach new players to be a part of something bigger than themselves, right? Now, when a new player joins a Node War guild, they're just running around in a free-for-all that doesn't really look like there's much purpose to it, and there's not like a sense of victory at the end. In the old Node War system, a new player would join a Node War guild, and they would feel like they're a part of a greater moving body. Like there was a purpose to their pushes, there was a purpose to grouping up, and they felt like they were meaningfully contributing to the victory or the defeat that their guild had, right? And like I think that gave players a sense of accomplishment that you no longer have anymore. And in that way, it encouraged new players to constantly be involved in Node Wars and get involved in Node Wars, right? But it was on the community to basically introduce them. Right? You can't expect a new player to jump in and be able to build the base. No, that's nonsense. The veteran players would do that, and you would teach the new players, right? That's how it worked. Now we have a system that no one has to be taught because it's just not competitive. But now there's that sense of greater purpose is missing. And so like new players don't want to play it either, right? And I've been saying this forever. Right? But nobody wants to listen. All Pearl Abyss wants to do is defend their garbage Node War system and say, oh, look how many more people are doing our Node War system. Now we're in a point where this Node War system has the best PvP rewards we have ever seen. You're getting 1 billion silver a night, over 1 billion silver a night for just winning essentially no fight at all. And guilds still don't want to drop because it's not fun and it's not worth it. They don't care. They have the best rewards in the entire world. It doesn't matter. The system is garbage. It's garbage on capped, it's garbage on T1s, it's garbage on uncapped. The whole system must be scrapped and pulled out. You can't even keep it for T1s. That shit's garbage too, okay? The old system at least allowed the community to carry your dog shit development, okay? The new system doesn't even allow the community to do that, okay? The whole system needs to be ripped out root and stem, and you need to start over from scratch with PvPers in inputs. Okay.
Recently, they tried to add the system back, which is like such
You sound heartbroken. I am heartbroken. That system, what I just explained to you guys, was at the core of my experience with the game for 7 years. Like that is what brought players together in BDO. Like, that was the sense of community that we built in this community. That was what the fabric of the entire game was built on, coming together for a common purpose of PvP, okay? Particularly Node Wars. And they took that from us. And it's gone, okay? It's gone now. Now there's no reason to come together. The PvE, you don't come together with your guild for PvE. You don't have to get into a call with 30 to 100 players anymore. You just don't do that anymore. There's no reason to really come together and do any group content whatsoever. And so the grind feels more meaningless than ever to a lot of players. There's just no purpose there anymore. And there's no purpose for communities to start anymore. So all of these leadership cores are slowly dying. All of these small communities, all of these large communities, all these PvP communities, the PvE communities, all these communities are all dying. They're all dying because there's no purpose to keep going anymore. They can't get people to come into voice anymore. Here's the brutal truth, is that the leadership cores of each game are not playing because the game is good. They're playing because they find it fulfilling to put together a node war or to put together a siege and like prepare that content for people and have all of these people come into their community and have a good time as a direct result of their hard work. And now, no matter how hard these community leads work, no matter how hard these guild leads work, they can't get people to come into voice anymore. They can't get people to show up to node war anymore. They can't get people to show up to siege anymore. And it's disheartening. And eventually they let go. And every leadership core that lets go means less players that are willing to teach new players the next time that, you know, we get a system that's actually worth anything. I am heartbroken. The game I love so much is being completely obliterated by... And I'm trying to say that word less.
Convoluted way, like, oh, our system definitely isn't terrible, but here's your old system as an option.
Exactly what I said before, right? Exactly what I said before. It's a total slap in the face. It's just, hey, here's your, by the way, our new system isn't bad, but we'll give you the option to do the old system if you want to. And then they f that up royally. The implementation on that has been a complete disaster.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
That's me right now. But like, the guys, most of you aren't doing the new node war system or like the node wars anymore. Most people aren't doing it. But for the people that are doing it, it's been a year. You know what? I'll just, you know what? They've made announcements about it. I can just show. We're aware of an issue of adventurers not being able to sign up for Node Wars. We're actively investigating this issue, being updated on the situation. Thanks for your patience and understanding. A notice will be shared on our official Black Desert website on all investigations are complete on the issue. Again, thanks for your understanding. But wait, there's more. Greetings, adventurers. Please be aware that due to an unexpected issue of you only being able to press the participation button, yes, 2 hours before the node war, that means you also have to build the base over 2 hours before the node wars in order to be able to participate in the node war. This issue will be fixed on the December 5th maintenance. X'd out. Adventurers of guilds that were participating in Sunday's node war, including War Heroes, have received the victory reward buff for 48 hours, depending on which tier. Hey, thanks for the buff. We really are there for the fight, though. Thanks for that, dumbasses. Additionally, the victory reward, no one gives a f. Apologize for the inconvenience. No one cares about what your company says anymore. Fix our system. And by the way, that's just one of like 8 bugs. If you've been reading the patch notes like I have lately, it's bug after bug after bug. Either you can't plant the fort, or you're not getting rewards, or you can't yes up for war, or it's a disaster. It's a complete disaster re-implementing the old node war system. So they that up too, right? And you'll notice that almost no one's doing that either, because we told them as a PvP scene, we said it's not going to fix anything. Choice said it, I said it, even Bicep said, actually no, Bicep was the only one that was like, this is huge, it's amazing, it's going to fix everything. But like Choice, myself, Divios, and every other PvPer that actually likes large-scale PvP was like, yeah, that's not going to do anything. You've destroyed the fabric of your community. You must rebuild the fabric of the PvP scene if you're going to gain the trust back of those players. And I just want to point out that everyone likes to say how few players like PvP. $26,465, 15,817. Okay. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. Oh my God, 18%. It's 18% of 10,400. Okay. If you scroll back, we lost 19% of 25,000 in a month. Then another 10% and another 10%. And it's been a mess. This is barely breaking even. This was Karazad. Bringing back the old Node War system and Sovereign, right? All three of those came in like this, like end of September through November, right? And it's basically the same as it was before, right? Who left the game? The PvPers, right? As much as you, and the people that were motivated by PvP. So the PvEers that really don't see a need to progress if they can't do PvP someday. You might not like PvP. There's a lot of players in the BDO community that despise PvPers. They hate PvPers, but in a up way, they're still motivated by PvP. It's just negative motivation. They're grinding so that someday on their Guardian, when that godforsaken shithole of a lawn comes into the rotation, they can just God Incinerator and say, your PvP. I don't give a shit about you. They just God Incinerator and one-shot them, right? And then they can goon it that night because they grinded so hard that guy who's really good at PvP and has spent hours doing PvP didn't matter because I've played the game more than you. You can go yourself, right? Like there's a certain amount of PvEers that just hate PvP so much that in a weird way, it still motivates them too. All of them have stopped playing as well. Like it's a massive part of this player base really did enjoy PvP or the aspect that they could PvP someday. Like there is a semblance of an end game that I'm grinding for, even though I don't really like PvP right now. Someday I could do it, right? There's a lot of players, right? Our progression system, say what you will about the progression system. It's been headed in this direction for years. And no one really said anything about it. Dead God into Debos. And it's been like this for a long time. No one ever gave a shit. All right. Like it wasn't until they took PvP away that everyone was like, well, wait, our progression system sucks too. Right. You know why the progression system sucks? It's because there's nothing to grind for anymore. Right. That is why this looks like this. Okay. It's so brutal. I hate this. I hate that they just, and the worst part about this is that, guys, if they just listen to us as players, if they listen to the PvEers, they listen to the life skillers, they listen to the PvPers, none of this shit would be happening. Literally none of this would happen. Period. Dot. It just wouldn't be happening at all. Like, because they didn't listen to the PvPers, all of them left. And because they didn't listen to the PvEers, when the PvPers left, all the PvEers are starting to leave. The life skillers are like, okay, well, we're getting some updates. Those are lifers. Those are lifers. They don't give a right? Because unless they remove a life skill from the game, trading, they're just not going to leave the game. I also want to point out that, again, they did more damage to life skills this year than good by taking trading away from the game. It's the first time in the history of the game they've actually just removed a life skill from the game. You cannot do that anymore. That's it. No more active trading. Granted, there weren't a lot of people that did it, but here's the thing. Every system you remove like that is one less thing that the life skillers feel that they can do with their time. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people in this game that play the game because there's a wide variety of things to do. And at a certain point, if you take away the variety of things to do, they stop playing the game.
And it's apparently been a disaster.
They said they would temporarily disable it until they reworked it. Yeah, for the 8th time, because they can't figure out how to do this. I'm going to rework trading in 2 seconds. Are you guys ready for this? Everybody ready? Guys, welcome to the new trading rework. It's land bartering. Woo! Now the node managers, every time you do trades, you get an opportunity to unlock more nodes, like more trade nodes at more different nodes, right? And certain nodes will give you different rewards for different things. Like the outposts will give you like very strong PvP buffs at the end game of trading that you can then sell on the central market for a tremendous amount of money. Okay. But you can only get them if you do 20,000 trades or something. You can take your wagon over. Now, hey, we've introduced this new wagon system where there's 4 or 5 new wagons. There's a Balanos wagon, a Serendia wagon, a Calpheon wagon, a Medaya wagon, and a Valencia wagon. If you use the correct wagon for the correct region that you're in, you can get extra buffs. Your wagon goes faster, or you can carry more weight, etc. Right? And the idea is that you carry goods from one node to the next node, and then they tell you to carry it to the next node, and to the next node, and to the next node. And by the tier 5, you can then vendor that for money or wait and trade it to some really good special trade, special barter, if you will, that will give you a very exclusive buff for PvE, life skilling, or PvP that you can then sell on the market for a of money or use yourself. Literally just land bartering. It's not hard. It's not hard. $10,000 per or 10,000 pearls per regional wagon base. True. Oh, no. We're going to introduce skins that are $70 a piece. PA be like, how do we fix the game? New node system, more skins, listen to the player. Yep. That's it. Literally exactly that. Dark Reader extension must have. I do have Dark Reader, it's just not on.
Because they can't actually do it because it keeps bugging out or something. So yeah, I guess we'll give that more time to see how that goes. But that's kind of how I'm feeling about BDO. Sorry to be such a negative Nancy. I don't think the
Don't apologize. The funny thing is he wasn't even all that negative, right? He wasn't even all that negative. I bet he got downvoted like a shitload more than he normally does.
game is dead, or like, look, it's struggling for population, and anybody that said anything different is coping hard. I love BDO, and I don't want it to have a population crisis or whatever you want to call it, or anything like that. I would never say dying, because let's be honest, I mean, like, what is dying? I mean, I know my little indie Korean game that I first started MMOs on still has servers running to this day, and it was like 1,500 people at peak. So, you know, dying is a strong word anyway, but it is struggling for population. I know we only have the Steam numbers, but you can also see in game, it's the subtle things for me where like you can run around, and on any channel that I'm on, I noticed that there's just left people doing AFK stuff. At the moment we have a fishing.
True. Wait. What do you guys want me to go to Heidel? I'll go to Heidel. I'll see. This is SEA on the new player server. I'll do my own experiment. I think he's about to go to town too.
So it's a little unfair maybe for me to say.
So there's a fishing event going on right now.
Oh, there's less AFK people, but it was before.
How many people are in Heidel?
It's
a good indicator.
Where you'd see less people, and I do think that you.
Comma one. This is a normal
system
server
of a game with a back.
There's 4 people here. 5 if you include him. There's not a single person at the storage keeper. No one is even AFK processing. 5 people. People fish in Hakoven, Velia? No. You don't get to say that, okay? People have always fished in Heidel because this is like this is where you go. This is where the lazy people fish. You say, I can't run out to my AFK spot, so I'm just gonna just throw the rod in the water here. Plenty of people have done this, right? And if they don't do that, they just AFK at the person here. There's always people in Heidel, no matter what. Of course, there's gonna be more people in Velia because it's a little bit better. There's more people at Hakoven because it's better. But like for the lazy people, which is the majority of the community, they used to hang out in Heidel. This is where they fished, right? This is it, right? It's comma 1 though. Are we seriously gonna make me? Okay, all right. Well, okay. What server do you think is most popular? I don't know. Same guy. Dits me. Which server do you think is the best? This is SEA. I can do it for NA or EU too. Why is it Grana 1? What the is that, bro? There's literally just one comma server. It's me. Which server do you think is Velia 1 probably for SEA? Okay. All right, let's do Velia 1. There is one guy gooning it to his main outfit right here. Okay. So nice, easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people fishing. 3 people around the storage keeper. And 3 people standing AFK here. Most active server, by the way. Let's see the shore. This is the shore. This is the shore here. If I look at NA should be better. There's a fishing event going on right now. NA should be better. In NA, brother? No, because again, you misunderstand. People these days don't understand how scientific studies are done. And so I'll explain it to you guys. Guys, when you're going to do like a comparison between groups, it has to be the same comparison across all groups. So if you're going to look at all servers, you need to look at all of them at the same location. Okay, I can check Velia on like North America, for example, but I can't use that in a comparison for this study in this case, right? Idle is garbage. Well, we've always known that idle fishing and processing are garbage, but like, here's the thing. There's still like a ton of people there all the time, right? Like when the game was much more active, there were at least 10 to 20 people, I would say 20 or more people AFK fishing, and then another 10 to 20 people AFK processing at the storage keeper, people coming and going all the time, right? People coming and going from the store. That is the thoroughfare of the entire game. You're not just looking at, what server do you guys want me to test for NA? That you're not just looking at like the AFK people. You're also looking at like the foot traffic, right? On a really popular server, there should be people, Serendia 4, that is a pretty popular server. Serendia servers are really popular. Calpheon 2, I don't want anybody hitting on my Dark Knight. I have somebody in idle. So like, I don't know any prize fish at idle. I could be wrong. There's prize fish in idle. There is. Or there's like the red fish and stuff. And again, you guys are on cope. Like there are always people in idle. It's about the foot traffic, right? It's about like the AFK people are just a sign of a much greater issue. All right, now there's a fishing event. This is more like it. This is more like it. Okay, this is much healthier. Okay, and this completely devalues and destroys any argument that says, oh, Heidel doesn't have AFK fishers. No one AFK fishes in Heidel. Stop coping. Stop coping. They absolutely do. They 100% do. There are a lot more players in North America than I think there are in Asia, for sure. There's like probably 2 to 3 times as many players in North America as there are in Asia. How you doing, buddy? Don't see very many people AFK processing, but there is a fishing event, right? There is a fishing event. And look how many people there are. This used to be, guys, this is an event. This used to be just normal. This was just how many people were here. This is just how the shores of Heidel always looked. There were always people fishing here all the time, right? Now the entire server is fishing. If I go out to the grind zones right now, I'm not going to find shit. Okay? There's like nobody out active right now. I can't believe these people are AFK horse training. They didn't get the memo. They didn't get the memo. Like, and if I go to Hackhaven, it's been popping around here today. That's good, right? But like most of these people are logged in for the fishing event. I'm curious what it looks like without a fishing event. But like, again, this goes to show you how much cope people are on when they say, oh, well, no one really fishes in Heidel. Oh, well, that's not a popular server. Or, oh, well, yeah, that's not a good indicator. You have to go to Velia. No, Heidel is a perfect indicator for how many players are playing the game, because there should always be people here. This is the main thoroughfare city of the game. Most of the lazy people, when they want to go AFK, are just going to throw their rod in the water, or they're going to AFK process, and they're done. Right? That's just how people do. And it should show you how many casual players, or just how many players. It's a rough indicator for how many players are actually playing the game. How often are people running to and from the storage keeper? How often are people? This is where everyone's residences are for like PvP and stuff as well. Like how many people are running through town looking for like their food buffs and stuff. Like here's an active person right here. Rawl and Iconic. Yeah, that's a PvP guild, right? You bond copium, the game's way more empty. It is. And right now, that's a good sign. I'll be honest with you. This is good that there's this many people AFK here. Because you know what it shows to me? When the AFK fishing event goes away, this goes back to being dead. However, what this means, this is a good indicator to me to how many players are still holding on to hope for the game. Right? If they fix everything, I do think that all of these players would come back and play the game very actively. I do. I think that they absolutely would.
Backbone of PvP. I mean, like, look, no people AFK processing is absolutely wild to me. You create a backbone of, let's create a game with...
All right,
you create a system of a game...
Like, look how crazy that beach looks, guys.
With a backbone of PvP. I mean, like, look, no people AFK processing is absolutely wild to me. You create a backbone of, let's...
Look how few people are in town.
Create a game with a sandbox approach, a PvP backbone. Everything is a fight. Everything is a resource to fight over. Your guild is your home. You know, you help your guildies out.
Yes, dude. Your guild is your home. You felt attached to your communities. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you met players. That's where friendships were forged, right? Like, those bonds were formed in guilds. And now there's no reason to come together as guilds. It's frustrating.
You know, and then the fights you have in the open world all the time in GVGs, then bleed into Node Wars, and the stories you create of hating those. I mean, that's the BDO that I loved.
Ellen Dussy?
And that's the BDO that they've taken away because they're trying to attract a very temporary casual audience who are afraid of dying in a video game.
Correct.
Once in a while because they walk onto a player's grind spot, you know. I mean, to me, the most toxic form of gameplay has always been someone willing to karma bomb to take over your grind spot. That's never been addressed ever. But, you know, the PvP,
never.
Oh, God forbid you lose nothing and die in you know. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm hoping that Calpheon Ball will do something because I think they do need to do something.
They do.
And I know we only have the Steam numbers in terms of actual numbers, but they are indicative.
Yep.
And it's bad.
It's a percentage. Right? Yeah, it's a trend.
I don't think Throne and Liberty is any good, by the way. I see a lot of BDO streamers hard on Throne and Liberty. They're just desperate for something. But they'd all be back straight to BDO. BDO made these changes because it is the superior game. It just is. There's that phrase of lions led by donkeys that describes the First World War, and in this case, I think the game is the lion and so I don't need to go any further than that. So yeah, let me know how you guys are feeling. If you watch this video, this is a rant and a half, and I've never really put it into video.
It's his best video he's released in a long time.
Video format before because I don't want to be dramatic. I'm not going to delete my gear and be like, haha. And if I ever did decide, look, the game is not for me anymore. They're targeting an audience that they think they can succeed with. You know, they think the game has enough PvE elements to survive.
It doesn't.
That's fine. I'm not going to play for now. I would never just delete my gear. I would never hard quit. I would never make a dramatic video why.
Visuals. Fake uni. You know what he's talking about.
BDO is dead. This is just me venting a little bit, which I've never done before in video format, and I do it a lot on stream. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. If you did watch, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm always curious to read what people are saying.
His like ratio typically hovers like 97, 98%. My guess is that his like ratio for this video is, definitely lower. That's for sure. What's he at here? Out of 163 likes, 142 divided by 163. Yeah, he's at 87. Yep. Welcome. You say anything bad about the game, the Pearl Abyss virtue signalers are going to come for you. They're going to come for you. They're going to come for your content. They're going to unsubscribe, and then they're going to watch every one of your videos.
And especially now at the moment.
No, don't do that.
Are you looking forward to the Calpheon Bowl? How do you feel about that? You know, I've watched every single Calpheon Bowl on stream, and I've always hosted like a watch party live here at my manor. Look at that cool ass statue, by the way.
It's badass
So
as
cool.
fuck statue.
This is the first one I was just, you know what, man, the way I'm feeling, I almost just, because it'll be early in the morning, I'm just like, do I want to get up at like whatever 4 or 6 in the morning, whatever it is, and watch it on a Saturday? Or do I just wait?
We're all watching it. Guys, I'm watching it. You guys watching it? I'm getting up. I don't give a what time of the day it is. I don't care. I'm watching it. I'm going to be live. I'm going to be there pressing them.
See if the recap was any good. I'm not sure. But let me know what you guys think. And as
watch
always,
the recap. Watch the Blue Squadron recap. Easy.
to watching. Sorry for being kind of like not super active on YouTube. I did move, but that's no excuse because I wasn't really that active before. I just haven't felt the motivational kick. It's the same with like the Ranger guys. It's like Ranger guys are always built around lots of changes to the game. PvP being the forefront and wanting to help people play the class, hoping that people could get the foundations from my videos and then go on to be much better than I am at the class. But yeah, at the moment, just I get the PvP videos are pretty accurate anyway, so I don't really need to go crazy. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. See you guys later.
I thought this was a great video. I think that you should support content like this. I think that Anfield absolutely he spoke his thoughts about the game, and I felt that he did it in a very constructive, good way. Like that. Somebody said that there's another one with him. The reason I discovered this video in the first place is because the other video popped up on my feed right here. Yep. So I've watched the first part of this.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, actually, we're going to talk about your guys' comments. So obviously I made a video that was
The like ratio on this video is crazy.
supposed to be another video, but it turned into me talking, I'm sort of ranting a little bit about how I felt about the current state of Black Desert.
Guys, I don't have an eye tracker installed in my channel. However,
Now, what was interesting about this video is a couple things. Number one was that it did really well comparatively. Obviously, as I said in the video, I'd kind of been neglecting a little bit to do YouTube because I wasn't super motivated, and YouTube generally punishes you hard with the algorithm if you don't publish videos frequently. When you see other YouTubers that are making videos, they're pumping them out really quickly. If you don't, usually it doesn't.
that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of YouTubers that only post like once a month to once a year even. And their videos do really well. It's the likelihood that someone is going to click on your video when you do publish a new video. So like if somebody has if all of your subscribers have a really high likelihood to interact with your video, then YouTube's going to recommend it for them. All right. It's just the way that it goes.
Promote your video, but for some reason a lot of people did click this video, whether it's because it's promoted or because you saw it from subscribing feeds. I'm not sure how many are subscribed or not that saw my video.
Yeah, this popped up on my feed.
But it did pretty well. Again, like comparatively, in the past when I was pumping out videos and actually really hyped on things, you know, I could get lots of views, but it was the interactions that I really was just taken aback by, because it's clearly something that resonated with a lot of you. So what I thought would be kind of interesting to do would be for me to answer some of the things that you've put in comments. Not answer always, but like talk about, I suppose, is probably a better way to say some of the comments. Pretty much the video, I think, was 118 likes at the moment to 15 dislikes. Now that's actually quite a high dislike ratio for my videos. I usually
yeah, see, I told you. And see, he notices this shit too, because he's actually a YouTuber. And although Anfield hasn't done a lot of YouTube recently, 25.7k subscribers. You don't get to 25,000 subscribers without understanding your like ratio on videos.
I don't get that many, usually one or two, even on the higher end videos, except for like the...
For me, it's like a Tuesday. I'm going to be honest with you. For the videos that I put out, we forgot to put out a BDO video today, so that's been a little rough. Or we didn't forget, we just didn't have one. But like if you look at the console video. Well, that's only got 9 dislikes. That's better. Although my like ratio has been a lot better recently. The like ratio has been a lot better, and I think it's because how's this video doing?
He flew.
Yeah, this has got 22 downvotes, right? Most YouTubers that are like really successful hover 97 to 99% like ratios on their videos. I hover like 90 to 95 because I put out content that it's controversial. Why am I holding my? What you got to do with that thumbnail? What are we doing with this? What is that? What's going on? God damn it. But like, I put out content that isn't necessarily like everyone is always going to like it. Even my patch note rundowns have 12 downvotes on it for some stupid ass reason. Like, I don't know. People just don't like listening to my voice, but they do it every week anyway.